me, and today I'm going to do a soldier double tutorial. I'm basically going to just show what to do to make it more consistent, and all stuff like that. I'll try and give off as many tips as I can to make this a little bit more consistent. It is a very, very difficult trick, so if you find yourself heavily struggling, then there's no real shame to be had. Just know it's a really hard trick, so there's just a lot to it. I'll try my best to explain. I have a little hand cam in the bottom left. I'm really sorry for the horrible bit rate, but like, it's just kind of the way it is. I don't know why I recorded it like that, but yeah, let me just show it off first. Okay, so that was kind of slow. It was kind of bad, but we'll make it work. So this beginning portion, like all the way up here, up until like the point where you're actually about to grab this first guy, it's really not that important. As long as you hit this this one right here, last, then you'll be fine. I'm pretty sure you can see my cursor, which is really nice. As long as you hit this one last, you should be fine. Besides that, is this like little platform that like all of these houses and all the soldiers are on. If you're below that, like here, you can even be a little bit further up actually. This is probably like the best place you could stand. That's like gonna make the green guy. So if you do soldier shingles, you're probably gonna stand to the very left of this guy right here. And you'll notice that the green soldier that's all the way on the right, he actually gets stuck. You want to prevent that by standing right here instead, and that'll make him so he actually comes over, and that's really important. So then the moment you actually start sucking up this guy, this isn't actually like important, but it's a little tidbit that I give. I tend to hold left a little bit before I go up left. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't lose any time, but it doesn't save any time either, but yeah. So this is where the trick starts to get hard. So there's a lot of things you can do with this green guy. What I tend to do is I tend to go slightly below him, but you also can go to like the right of him or the left of him as well if you want. But there's a reason I go below him. The moment I start sucking up, I have my vacuum over his what are these things even called? I'm not sure. The winder uppers, I'm gonna call them. I have my vacuum over the winder upper for a second, and then you'll see I start moving right instantly, or almost instantly. Not quite instantly, but like, you know, like slightly after I get the suck up. There's no real cue for that. It's just me moving right, like out of instinct. I can't really give a tip for that. So you'll see down here I'm holding straight right on the control stick, but that's not all. I'm also holding straight right on the C stick. So what this does is it causes me to de-lock off of this guy and start locking onto this guy. Not only that, that'll also get this little winder upper off, and that'll make it so he's vulnerable. Now this is a really bad suck up here, but basically you want to try and get these guys up into the top left, and I don't really have a tip for that besides like just holding up left and hoping Luigi goes up there. If not, if they start like to drag you out of there, just hold straight up left and see if it'll get them back up there. I don't really have a tip for the suck up. Mostly with the suck up is like you have to know how ghosts like move. You have to know how these guys move. You like and all that. It's like nearly impossible to 100% consistently make it so you suck both of them up at the same time. So like if they start going in opposite directions, like how they did here, notice how I focus on one guy first and then I start going for the other guy. That's important. Like, you don't want to always be trying to get both of them, because that's going to cause Luigi to get dragged, and then they're going to break off. However, if you do get these guys in the top left, most of the time it's going to be one going right, one going, like, down right. So if you just tap up left, then they'll like, just have both their HPs go down. But if they do break off of the top left here, you do just, what I try and do is I try to focus on one of them, get their HP down first, and then I focus on the other. And you'll see I had control there, like, nearly the entire time. There are some times where, like, they'll go to, like, the middle of the room, and you'll be dragged constantly. You basically want to try and stay in this, like, area right here, like, as much as you possibly can. You don't really want to leave this, because if you do, it's almost impossible to get the double at that point. And well, it's not impossible, but it's like, it's really difficult if that happens. So you want to try and avoid that. So, like, I also, what some people do is they like to back up before, so they lock onto them, like, both at the exact same time. I like to start sucking up this guy first, because then I can get a little bit of HP off of him before I do this guy. I think that's actually slightly slower, but it does make it a lot more consistent, with me, at least for me, it does. So I like to do that, and then it's just getting a good suck up. I can't give tips for the suck up itself. I can give tips to help prevent them from breaking off, which is like just like getting them up in the corner, staying in this kind of parenthesis. And then, like, if they do break off of the corner, just try and focus on one of them and then focus on the other. I wouldn't say it's like pick one you want to focus on. It's like whichever one is like going into a wall or like in like a corner is probably the one you want to focus on the most. Like, you'll see this guy is literally going straight up here, and then this guy was doing whatever he was doing down there, and that allowed me to take control, and he actually ended up moving over here, and that's what allowed me to get this guy. And then I focused back on this guy. So even though that technically, like, it doesn't end up being a double, in the end, you are doubling both the soldiers. And again, like, I'm sure if you put a lot of practice into it, you can get them all the way up here, like, every single time. But, like, that's really hard. So, a lot of the time, I tend to, like, end up having to focus on one of them and then the other. Which isn't that much slower. It's, like, slightly slower. Most of the time when that happens, though, they're both at, like, 50 HP, so I'm not losing that much time in the end. But here they ended up at, like, 60 and 70. Like, that's kind of bad for me. But it ended up being a good example for what to do. Besides that, like, I don't really have another thing to say about it. It's just kind of that. I think that'll, like, be fine for it. So I guess that's it. I'll see you guys later. I really hope this helps. If you are having trouble, leave a comment. I'll try my best to respond. I have a history for being horrible at responding to things now, but I'll try my best. I'll see you guys later.